Welcome to Taekook Whispers, a place where silence speaks the loudest. Have you ever looked at someone and instantly known that they were tired without a single word being said? Lately, Jungkook's face has been telling a story more honest than anything he has ever spoken aloud. A weary gaze. Fading energy. Not a concept. Not drama. This is real exhaustion, and exhaustion like this always has a reason. Behind the spotlight, the criticism, and the endless public demands, there is something often overlooked. A relationship never meant to be displayed, yet one that continues to exist quietly, sincerely, away from noise and expectation. Today, we're not here to talk about rumors. We're here to talk about gestures, presence, and wordless understanding between Taehyung and Jungkook. Because sometimes, the realest things are the ones that are never announced. The first thing that stands out when you see Jungkook lately is the exhaustion itself. Not a fabricated tiredness, not a temporary expression for the sake of a concept. This is real fatigue. His eyes appear dim and heavy, carrying a sadness that's hard to hide, as if proper rest has been absent for days. His face shows layers of accumulated weariness, and for anyone who truly pays attention, it's a worrying sight. This is not part of a performance. Not an image crafted for the camera. It's the consequence of relentless work, of professional demands that leave little room to breathe. Jungkook moves through an intense cycle of events, recordings, rehearsals, and promotions, one after another, without pause. Not always because he wants to, but because it's the responsibility tied to the contract he signed. He carries it with discipline, even when his body and mind clearly need rest. Unfortunately, not everyone is willing to see this side. Many are quick to judge, criticize, and demand explanations without truly understanding what he's facing. But Jungkook doesn't need to explain himself. His face already speaks more honestly than words ever could. Yes, he is paid for his work as an artist, but his private life is not part of that contract. Especially the things he protects most carefully. His relationships, his feelings, and the people he holds close. Jungkook once said this clearly at a fan sign in Japan. If he doesn't always appear alongside Taehyung, it's not because of distance or problems. It's because their relationship was never meant to be displayed. They don't need the same stage or the same camera to prove anything. A real relationship isn't measured by how often two people appear in public. They choose to keep what they have private, away from spotlights and speculation. And that choice deserves respect. Taehyung shares the same principle. In episode 3 of Are You Sure, he explained that when he travels or eats with someone important, he doesn't always share it on a show. Not every moment is meant for public consumption. Some moments are meant to be lived, felt, and kept. Their personal lives belong to them, and will only be shared if and when they choose. That's why Taehyung understands that proof doesn't need to be demanded. What matters isn't what others see, but that they're okay, and that they respect one another. When Taehyung arrived at Jin's concert, he didn't seek attention. He stepped out of the car in a simple t-shirt, effortless and quiet. His body looked strong, well-trained, and his presence felt grounded. He didn't go on stage. He didn't sing. He came simply to show support, and sometimes, that kind of presence speaks louder than any spotlight ever could. He stood beside Namjoon and J-Hope, relaxed, enjoying the concert without performing for anyone. They didn't need to do more to show their affection for Jin. For Taehyung, choosing not to join the stage was, in itself, an act of respect. He knows when to step back, when to let someone else shine in their moment. And even though Jungkook couldn't attend, nothing changed. Everyone knows how exhausted he is, how much rest he needs after non-stop work. His absence wasn't indifference, it was acknowledgement of his limits. And Taehyung, more than anyone, understands that. Not everything needs to be spoken to be understood. They don't need to be in the same place at all times to stay connected. When one is absent, the other understands why. When one needs support, the other gives it, quietly, without announcement. This kind of connection doesn't rely on appearances or events. It's built on understanding, on care that doesn't seek recognition. That's why fans don't always need to see them together to believe. A sincere relationship isn't measured by photos or videos, but by small gestures, the way they protect and look after each other beyond the camera's reach. Taehyung came to the concert not to be seen, but to support, just as he supports Jungkook even when they aren't side by side. Every step they take reflects trust and respect, not public expectation. And that's what makes their bond feel so real. While others search desperately for proof, they move quietly, steady, connected, and unbothered by the need to explain themselves. Sometimes, gestures speak far louder than words, and Taehyung and Jungkook are the clearest example of that. Over time, their closeness reveals itself through consistent details. Jungkook choosing a plush doll in red shorts, so similar to the ones Taehyung often wears. These moments aren't new. Jungkook frequently gravitates toward objects, colors, and details that naturally remind him of Taehyung. This isn't empty theory. It's a recurring pattern. Even around the time Taehyung attended Jin's concert, Jungkook wore a t-shirt strikingly similar to Taehyung's. In another moment, he mirrored Taehyung's signature expression, sticking out his tongue in the same spontaneous, unfiltered way. These gestures aren't planned. They don't require a camera. They happen naturally. And for those who pay attention, they speak clearly enough. There is something solid between them, something untouched by rumors or denial. They understand each other without words. With a glance or a subtle touch, they know what the other feels. They support each other in important moments, protect one another when tired, offer gentle touches when comfort is needed. These aren't casual actions. They come from trust, safety, and a connection built slowly but deeply. When they're together, the atmosphere changes. Their voices soften. Their expressions calm. They show up for one another in the most intimate moments of their lives as artists, like in dressing rooms before stepping on stage. That's where encouragement is exchanged quietly, where confidence is built without spectacle. These moments are brief, but meaningful. Not staged scenes, just fragments of their shared reality. Taehyung and Jungkook's relationship is constant, quiet, and sincere. It doesn't rely on declarations. It exists in details, repeated gestures, familiar choices, glances shared when no one's watching. When coincidences happen too often, they stop being coincidences. They become signs. In a world obsessed with visual proof, Taehyung and Jungkook choose a different language. They don't explain. They don't defend. They don't prove. They simply understand each other. When one is tired, the other gives space. When one is absent, the other understands. When the world demands answers, they remain calm, because not everything real needs to be shared. A relationship like this isn't built on stages or cameras, but on trust, respect, and consistency in the smallest things. And when coincidences happen again and again, they stop being coincidences, they become signs. Thank you for listening to the whispers the world often ignores. If you believe silence can carry meaning too, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. See you again at Taekook Whispers, where what remains unspoken is felt the most.